Welcome back to week 9 of the NFL season. This is our NFL bet show where we each give you our top three favorite bets, including our lock of the week. Coming off our roughest week yet, I would say, where we all went 1-2, I believe. Alex did hit his lock, keeping that streak alive there. You think you're on like a three.
I was a Hail Mary, which a
Me too.
devastating
I was
Hail
Yeah,
going
I
to say
Mary,
know.
we were
and
seemingly close to a positive week
yeah, and
outside
a
of some Tariq Steven or what's his name
Tyreek
Yeah,
Stevenson.
Tyrese. It
Yeah,
was the Bears. Yeah, just
Stevenson
absolutely blew
yeah,
that.
yeah, and Minshew.
taunting the crowd.
Yeah, that and then Minshew like drove down with like a minute 20 left to put that game over. It was under for 99% of it. So, anyways, no need to live in the past.
Yep.
On to week 9.
On to week 9. Who wants to start us off with their first bet?
I'll kick it off. We got the Thursday night game, Jets versus Texans. I'm going to go with the Jets -1.5. New York sitting at 2-6, but with this close game, I think the tiebreaker here is going to be the news that Greg Zuerlein, kicker, out to the IR, and they've brought in Riley Patterson, I think, and I think another kicker just in case Riley Patterson gets the jitters again.
What are we
So
talking about here? Riley Patterson?
yeah, I'm talking about the kickers for this game. When it's within a field goal, this is exactly what matters.
Yeah.
Zerline's been absolutely terrible for the Jets. So I think in a close game, like a kicker is actually what's going to make the difference for me here. Um, Obviously Texans without Stephon Diggs, and you know things are not looking great on the offensive side of the ball with Nico Collins still out this week. Um, I don't know if they're going to have enough to keep up with the Jets. So the Jets have obviously been really banged up on defense, but um, I don't know. I feel like they're better at stopping the run than they are the pass right now. So if they can limit that a little bit, I think they could sneak out with a home win here.
I want to say just to your kicking uh, note here, I'm pretty sure the Jets would be 5-3 if they made all of their field goals this year.
Yeah,
It's
There's,
crazy.
yeah,
they're playing
there's
in close games. Like
three to four games where they would
yeah,
have won had they made all their kicks.
yeah. I know it sounds funny to be like new kicker in town, like they're going to get a win, but
They needed it.
this is a team game.
That's crazy. Well, I'm going to be jumping on the same side of you with you, Nick, here. One of the main reasons is because the Texans offensive line is quite bad. They really don't know what they're doing. Last week against the Colts, they subbed out an offensive guard after the first drive. So I think the defensive line for the Jets can absolutely cause chaos here. There's no Diggs, like Nick mentioned. There's no Nico still. So they're rolling out Robert, Bobby, I Smoke Trees Woods, Xavier Hutchinson, John Mechie, and Tank Dell. So, yes, they rely heavily on their pass game. CJ Stroud is not a quote unquote mobile quarterback. He can make some plays on the run, but like he's not a run first quarterback. And, I will say though, the Texans do have a really good secondary. They've limited a lot of good quarterbacks to below average performances. Um, i.e. last week with Anthony Richardson. Josh Allen had a bad game against him as well. Similar stat line to Anthony Richardson. So like if Rodgers gets pressure, which the defensive line for the Texans can, Will Anderson, this could go poorly. But I mean,
Daniel
as you
Leonard.
said, like the Jets are not a bad team. Like they've lost games because of their kicking game. Obviously, Alex just came to that point, but you know, they still got Devontae Adams, they got Garrett Wilson, they got Breece Hall. Like they have all the weapons to put up 40 points a game. Something's just not clicking. I don't know if that's because Rodgers didn't attend, training camp or, mandatory mini camp or wherever it was, but something's going to happen. I think the Jets go on a huge run here, and I think this is the game that sparks it. Beating the AFC South leaders here in the Texans. Yeah, so give me the Jets here at home. I think they win this game by a touchdown at least.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers came out and said that he's been drinking cayenne water this week, and it's his new fountain of youth.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting him to come out with some fresh legs, and
Cayenne.
he's not going to have Alan Lazard burning me in DFS, on Thursday. So I'm actually excited for this Jets game.
And for this stat line here, for the Jets, not great, 0-5 in last ATS, last 5 games, but Houston Texans 1-4-1 ATS in last 6 games, playing the Jets on the road. So take that to the bank.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to be on the Broncos Ravens under 46.5. I think you have two teams that have drastically outperformed expectations. I mean, the Ravens, everyone thought they'd be pretty good, but they've been piling on plenty of teams. The Broncos are the team that really have outperformed expectations with, what's their record? Like is it
3.
5 and
Yeah, 5 wins, do they?
they have 4 or 5 wins, I believe.
I think they're 4.
They are
Either way,
5-3.
they're
Both teams are 5-3.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. The Broncos have, and a lot of it is their defense. So you have Broncos who have been one of the best defenses in the entire league. The Ravens run defense very strong, pass defense obviously very weak, but like Bo Nix still like an unproven, like they only have Cortland Sutton, and so just kind of still unproven as a passer. Yes, he can run a bit, but I think the Ravens can stop that. And then you have the Ravens who have an upcoming schedule of the Bengals, Steelers twice, the Chargers, the Eagles, and the Texans. So I can see this as like a, you know, look past you kind of game, not really fully take them, super seriously, even though their record's 5-3. And I just see like 46.5. Like to me, that's, when two teams kind of have weaker defenses, and I think these defenses are strong enough to just keep this like pretty low scoring. Like I wouldn't be surprised. I think this could be like a sneaky bet this game to make the lowest scoring game of the slate. Um, but I'm definitely on the under 46.5 here.
Have you looked at the full slate?
You think the Titans and Patriots are going to score more?
But that's why it's like it would be like a really long shot. I like a lot of unders, but again, like this week specifically, but I think that as like a long shot bet, I could see this game being pretty low scoring.
For sure. All right. My first pick of week 9 is going to be the Buffalo Bills -5.5 going up against the Miami Dolphins. The Bills are back on their wagon shit. Put up 34 and 31 the last 2 weeks against two pretty good defenses in Tennessee and Seattle. And on the other side, Tua looked all right in his return against the Cardinals. But I think that was largely in part because the Cardinals are the worst pass rushing team in the league. And he's going up now against a much tougher matchup in the Bills. Dolphins are the 27th ranked DVOA defensive team, and they are bad against the run. So I expect James Cook to chef it up a little bit here in this matchup. The Bills would have covered this spread the last 3 matchups against the Dolphins. They've averaged 33 points in those games, and the Dolphins are 1-12 in their last 13 in Buffalo. So give me the Bills -5.5. I think that should be over a touchdown, just the way these two teams are playing right now.
Yeah, screw the Dolphins. They sold last week. That was my lock of the week. I thought that was golden.
All right. That brings me to my next pick. I'm on the other side of this game. I'm on Miami +6. You can get that extra half point, I believe, at FanDuel, if I'm not
I think it's
mistaken.
DraftKings. But yeah, one or the other.
Yeah.
One's -5.5, one's 6.
DraftKings, DraftKings you can get +6, not FanDuel. So yeah, the first time they played this year, Miami could not hang with them. But to me, this is the Dolphins Super Bowl. Like they don't win this week. I mean, it's pretty much over for them in regards to like their hopes for playoffs and everything like that. They're finally have, Tua was back last week. He's finally getting in the groove. It was probably, coming off of that major concussion. Yes, it was the Cardinals, and it was the Cardinals they played last week,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, now you get the Bills here, and I don't think that there's anyone that can guard Tyreek and Waddle. Like they're kind of just like matchup proof wide receivers. Like when the Dolphins are on, it doesn't matter like what you have on defense. They're just going to perform. And you're going to see Mike McDaniel pull out. He's going to treat this like last year. I remember it was the reverse. The Bills were in like do or die spot, and we were like saying you should take the Bills to go on this long run and still make the playoffs. And this is like their Super Bowl. And the Bills ended up doing that. I forget what tough matchup it was to start that run, but we were all over that. To me, this is the Dolphins. Like they are in do or die mode, and Mike McDaniel is going to throw the entire playbook at the Bills in this spot. So I absolutely love the Dolphins here. They just have so many weapons. Like you have, and I know the first time they played, they couldn't get it done, but I'm on it for the second time. Um, I think people are going to look at this line and think it's a little trappy, and I do think it is. I think the Bills are a little bit of a trap here, after how the Dolphins have underperformed.
Hmm.
Well, you know what they say. Walk into yo trap, take over yo trap.
We'll see if
Right,
we'll
bro.
see how you
Kirk
do there.
Cousins.
Well, speaking of the Falcons, I'll jump in here. I'm taking the Cowboys plus 3.5. Falcons have won 4 out of their last 5, but I think the difference here is Dallas has activated Darren Bland off the injured reserve, so they get their star cornerback back. And against the pass heavy offense, I think that's going to make a huge difference. So love the duo of him and Diggs to lock down the Falcons passing attack. Micah Parsons is probably still out, and I think Chris Lindstrom's out for the Falcons on the offensive line. So, a couple injuries to play around, but I think this is just going to be one of those cases where like Dallas also has to like win. Like they need to start putting some numbers on the board or else like their season's also over. Kind of what Patrick was saying about the Dolphins. I think the Cowboys are in a very similar spot here. Um, so they got to start putting some big wins together, and I think they could beat out the Falcons. There was a close one last week against the Bucks for them, but I don't know. Bucks were pretty beat up, and they didn't really hang too much with them. So we'll see.
I was all over that. That I should have had that. That was I don't know how that line didn't get any bigger than what it was. Like pretty crazy that it closed at 2.5. When we recorded on Wednesday, it was 2.5. I definitely thought I'd at least get up to maybe 3 or 4. Really wish it would have because that would have helped me out. But I'm also on this game. It's crazy. We're all 4 of us have been on similar games, but I'm gonna be taking the under here. This is the highest over under on the slate at 52 points. Um, and Nick kind of just outlined it for me. The Cowboys getting Bland back, getting some other key pieces. I mean, with Micah Parsons, he's still questionable to play in this game. Like Nick said, he probably won't play in the game. And then on the Falcon side, you do have some injuries that have come up with them. But yeah, I mean, I think that I mean, it's an indoor game, it's a dome game, so a lot of people, you like the over and stuff like that. But 52 points is a lot. I think the Cowboys are, playing for, their playoff lives. Falcons, they're a hit or miss team. Like I feel like they can get really hot or they can get into really bad slumps. Like early in the season, what we saw with Kirk Cousins. So I just like the under here at 52. I think it's just way too high. The trends for this game, Dallas has gone under in 6 of the last 7 games when playing on the road in Atlanta. So I just screams under to me. Atlanta, 6 of the last 7 games against NFC East opponents have been under. So just give me the under here, just under game.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is Dallas has yet to win at home this year.
Wild. That's
Yeah, that's
usually their
crazy.
spot.
I know.
Well, that happens when you literally cannot run the ball.
Yeah.
Usually don't.
Well,
I mean, that's on them.
that's why I kind of like them on the road. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. My second pick here is going to be the Packers plus 3.5 at home against the juggernaut Detroit Lions. Definitely a scary team to bet against right now. But it's Halloween week, which means it's pumpkin week, which means it's pumpkin Jared Goff time. You've got him playing his first game all year outdoors. You've got wind and rain in the forecast. I'm personally expecting Jordan Love to play. He was interviewed today and said there's definitely a chance. The MRI came back, everything's good on the groin there and his knee. But even if they do play Malik, he's been solid. It's clearly a case of organizations mattering, right? Couldn't get anything done, couldn't do anything in Tennessee. Comes over to Green Bay, has played solid every single time that he's needed to, including last week. He didn't just come in and just hand the ball off and, eat the clock and run it out for them. He was making big plays. He was putting them in positions to score. So even if Love can't go, I think Malik's a solid option, especially with this forecast. And you've got a really good coaching matchup, but I lean LaFleur in this. He's 69%, 24-11 ATS as an underdog, and you're getting a home underdog through that key number of 3. So I expect this to be a very hard fought divisional matchup. It's partly why I'm expecting Jordan Love to play. This is a huge game down the road when the division is going to be decided by a game or two. So give me the Packers through that key number of 3 plus 3.5 at home.
Okay.
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 Who's
Definitely
next?
scary though.
Yeah.
It's scary to bet against the Lions right now.
Yeah, when
Absolutely.
Montgomery's throwing touchdown passes, you got to watch out.
Ben Johnson just been
And
in.
you're scoring 50,000 points with the quarterback throwing for like 30 yards.
Yeah.
Remember when you took the Titans last week, PB?
I don't want to even talk about that. Titans plus 11, which early in the game it was like, oh, I mean, you had Mason Rudolph running for touchdowns, Calvin Ridley cooking. I was still feeling good about it, but yeah, then it just went south.
Yeah.
Um, okay, who's doing their last pick first?
No, it's lock of the week.
Yeah, lock of the week. Who wants to
All
start
right.
us off?
I'll jump in with mine. We got the LA Rams -1.5 against the Seahawks divisional matchup, but I absolutely love what I'm seeing out of Matthew Stafford, a healthy Cooper Kupp, and Puka Nacua. The Seahawks have allowed the 6th most passing touchdowns in the league, so I think the Rams have a good opportunity to get that passing game they've been missing all season back up and running for a second straight week. And you know, I think the only risk here is Kung Fu Kenny Walker just keeps playing like an absolute maniac. Um, the Rams are one of the worst run defenses in the league this year, so I'm a little concerned about that. But Devin Witherspoon, DK Metcalf, both on the injury report. DK's probably not going to play. Witherspoon is a new ad as of today. Popped up with a foot injury, which kind of goes along with my thesis of a good passing attack for the Rams this week. But I love McVay and in divisional matchups. He's one of these textbook guys who just he knows the right plays. So I like him in this spot.
Are they on the road? Are they road favorites?
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah,
scary.
Seattle's home dogs, but
Home dogs have been eaten this year. So good luck, Nicholas.
yeah, I feel like middle of the season we're just in that point where like all these records start to even out. So I'm taking a lot of teams that have bad records and are better than them. So looking for the Cowboys and Rams to bounce back this week here.
Okay. Okay. Shoot. I will move on to my lock of the week, and it's It's one I don't really want to make. It's kind of out of necessity. Um, it is going to be the Colts on the road +5 against Minnesota. Um, I mean, if honestly, if you've taken the Colts this entire year against spread, they're the best team in the league. They're 7-1 ATS. They go to Minnesota, who is one of the better defensive teams in the league. Colts are looking for revenge after giving blowing the largest comeback in NFL history under Jeff Saturday when playing the Vikings a couple years ago. I think it was 33 or 34 points they gave up. Tough to watch. But yeah, obviously news out of Indy this week. I don't know what our organization's doing. We have benched Anthony Richardson for the foreseeable future. Joe Flacco, starting quarterback. Astat is in play. Shout out Kevin. Colts win the Super Bowl. If it happens, you gotta get the Astat Joe Flacco. Last year's Gardner Minshew. This year, Joe Flacco. So that is in play. So you guys can root for me going that route. Colts, I mean, offensively, do they look better with Joe Flacco? Anthony Richardson, I don't know. I mean, Joe Flacco beat Tennessee Titans and lost to the Jaguars. So, I mean, combined record of like 3-10. So, um, we'll see. Passing attack may be better. Run game may take a little bit of a hurt. That RPO, Joe Flacco cannot run the RPO at 39. Just impossible. So I don't know. I have to take it. I mean, it's one of those things where your bench starting quarterback, go to the backup, you take the points. I mean, Jameis Winston, PB called it last week. Jameis Winston came in, covered, and won the game. So rally behind this guy and see what happens. Because if the Colts lose this game, there's going to be absolute hell to pay in that locker room. There's going to be a lot of questionings. Shane Steichen, his job will be on the line for making this call, especially if Joe Flacco looks really, really bad. So give me the Colts +5. Going to take a money line as well for the hell of it. And see you at the bank.
All right. My lock of the week is going to be we're back on the Browns game, but not the Browns side. We're on the Browns Chargers over 42.5. Just crazy line. Like you have all these random games like the Ravens Broncos like 4 points higher than this. And then you have this game which has kind of like sneaky shootout written all over it. You have the Browns who even before when it was Deshaun Watson, they had one of the highest pass rates in the whole league. And and they committed to that with him playing as horrible as he was. With Winston, I mean the pass rate should even go higher. I get they have Chubb back now, but I mean he threw the ball 41 times last week. Uh Chargers defense, is pretty solid. But I mean, it just doesn't change the fact that the tempo, the pace of this game is just going to be a lot of pass attempts. You won't have that clock just constantly running. One, because I just don't think Dobbins, who's been pretty inefficient, like we saw it, just like these Achilles injuries happen, they start out a little hot and then it kind of dies out. And it's hard to run on the Browns anyway. Then you have Nick Chubb, who's coming off of this injury. You got two running backs coming off horrible injuries. Like this is just going to be a passing fest. On the Chargers side, so yeah, Winston's just gonna be chucking all game, whether it's interceptions, pick sixes, like some of you guys might think, like Nick does. Either way, that's points. Then
He
on
should have
the
had 5 interceptions at least last week.
but on the Chargers side, you got guys who excel, like Lad McConkey. I think he might have the single best matchup of any receiver on the entire NFL slate this week. He absolutely destroys man coverage. And the Browns, that's their primary coverage. They have been cooked by Zay Flowers, AJ Brown, Neighbors, McLaurin. Like all these guys have just put up numbers on the Browns. And that again, this should be my guess is McConkey's highest target share, most receptions he's had all year, and continue his breakout fest from last week.
Yeah, we're not going to have Denzel Ward maybe ever again.
Doesn't matter who you have, like a neighbor McConkey's gonna beat him.
I mean, Neighbors was cooking Martin Emerson. I'll give you that. But
AJ Brown cooked you. McLaurin cooked
AJ
you.
Brown cooks everyone.
Okay, McLaurin
You
cooked
can
you.
stop him. Yeah,
Shout out Brad.
he broke free a few
Zay
times.
Flowers put
I'm
up
not
over
very
100
confident
last
about
week.
this game. I think it's going to be a complete disaster. I don't believe in Jameis. I mean, he's really funny. I love his interviews, but he literally should have had like 5 interceptions. Eddie Jackson dropped 3 alone. There's that terrible drop by Kyle Hamilton at the end of the game I mean, the Ravens should have won. So I don't know. It's not looking great. We have our two out of our 3 best defensive players hurt. And, who knows what kind of pregame speech Jameis is going to give, but I'll at least enjoy that entertainment.
Gonna be points. That's all I'm saying.
He'll remember this time there's no decal on the helmet.
Yeah, thank God.
All right, rounding us out here, my lock of the week is going to be the Jaguars Eagles under 46. The Jaguars got absolutely decimated last week, got the injury bug. Lose Christian Kirk for the season, lose Brian Thomas for 2 to 4 weeks. Gabe Davis is questionable. They trade away their left tackle Cam Robinson, and I just don't expect them to be able to do anything explosive, let alone any sort of long gains in this game. The Eagles defense looked a lot better last week against the Bengals. You got some of their young guys, some of the young corners there starting to play a lot better. And the Eagles are the most run-heavy offense in the NFL when playing with a lead. So I kind of am expecting the Eagles to jump out early, maybe by like 2 touchdowns, and then pretty much just park the bus, take this game, bleed the clock, and just get out of there with a low-scoring win in something that I don't think is going to be much of a contest. So lock of the week, under 46, Jags Eagles.
How the hell does Doug Peterson still have a job?
Isn't it kind of a revenge game? Didn't he used to be the Eagles
Yeah.
coach?
Yeah, he won the Super Bowl with them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then he went to Howie's office and he said, "Get out.
Yeah.
You're fired."
He said, I am the captain.
All right. That'll do it for week 9. Hopefully we can just pile it on these last weeks of the NFL season, this last half. But thank you guys for watching. Comment your favorite bet of the week, and we will see you next time.